First and foremost, shout out to Drugstore Films. Today we'll be reacting to the Trell story, the documentary. I told y'all that I would actually like to be doing channels that don't have too much of a big following. So when we do reactions, it kind of shines a light on their channel as well, so you guys could go over there and support. However, I couldn't really find too many platforms that had Trell stories that was, of low following. So I just decided to pick this one, and Trell has one of the most interesting stories when it comes to his lifestyle and who he actually was as a person. We hear all the negative stuff when it comes to Trell. We hear, the gun-toting stuff. He held 63rd and STL down. But there's a part that a lot of people forget. They forgot to mention that he's very, very smart. He was very intelligent when it came to just book smarts as a kid. And I think his story highlights the average Chicago individual that their life just took a wrong turn for the worse. These guys don't just come out and be these demons that we all presume them to be, right? A lot of times they go through stuff in their environment. It's all about that environment. I tell y'all all the time, especially when we're talking about King Von and just period, right? When we call these guys demons and monsters and the Reapers, and a lot of the times they were turned into that. They was in an environment where it was you either kill or be killed, man. And unfortunately, being in that environment, you got to do just that. And some guys, they either take a life or they get theirs taken. And unfortunately, Trell's life was taken. Now, aside from that part of it, right? The way his life was taken was pretty weird. And I'm not laughing. I'm laughing to the point to where it's crazy how these things play out. It's crazy how a guy could be doing so much in the street, and when it comes to him losing his life, it's usually because of the smallest, minute thing. Like I said, we already did a video based on Trell. It was about one of the biggest mistakes he made, which led to his demise. And we have a lot of new followers, so I want to get guys caught up on who Trell and these people are. And like I said, I'm doing reactions, so I think this is a good start as well. Shout out to Drugstore Films. We're going to get into it, man. Make sure I hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
You're watching the Trell story. Sit back and relax.
Ain't this young money yet? What's this? About this action, man. He is out here, man. TYMB. TY, man. TDN. TYMB. Man. College Grove.
Back towards the land.
I'm back towards the S, man.
Back towards the S.
Fuck. Walking. Niggas be at, man.
First world, we on feet. We
Bosstrell, man.
G, man.
He out here.
Trell was STL's top hitter. He was allegedly involved in 3 murders at the age 16. In the beginning, STL was looked at as a weak set. At the time they were only known to be fighters. Trell made STL a dangerous hood by putting in work. According to FBG Cash, Trell kept the hood safe. Not only was he the #1 shooter, he provided other members with guns. To this day, he's one of STL's most respected members. This is his story.
And you know what's crazy? These guys be so young, y'all. Like just looking at the video as it was playing, I'm just looking at these guys' faces. When you hear these stories about these guys, you think they so older. And then lo and behold, you find out, no, he was just 17, 18, 20, 16. It's like, damn, we done heard so much about these guys. We done thought they was grown men. A lot of these guys that actually made it and didn't lose their life, when you come to find out, when you see the birthday posts on Instagram and you see that they're like 26 and 27, you're like, damn. I thought you was every bit of 30-something, 40-something by now. The way, your reputation precedes you, but it's crazy.
Rodney Stewart, also known as Trell, was born April 11, 1995 in Chicago, Illinois. Him and his family lived on the low end before moving to St. Lawrence. His mother Latifah was well known in Newtown. She had a reputation for being wild. Some even called her crazy. Latifah was known to be a hustler as well. Bosstrell and his younger brothers Ray and Ron learned a lot about the streets from watching their mother.
Mom's had a tat on her face.
Bosstrell
She
and
was
his brothers would
definitely
eventually move in with their grandmother Sheila in the Jeffrey Manor neighborhood. At the time, Bosstrell was into martial arts and sports. Basketball was his favorite sport to play. Even in the snow, Bosstrell wanted to shoot hoops. Bosstrell was a well-behaved, respectful child. He enjoyed going to school and was very intelligent. According to his grandmother, Bosstrell made good grades and loved to learn. He read a lot of books and spent a lot of time at the library. Around 2009, Bosstrell go and lived with his mother Letafra at 6347 St. Lawrence. Letafra's house became a hangout spot for Bosstrell and his friends. FBG Duck and Brick were like family to Bosstrell. Letafra and Duck's mother Lashina grew up together and were close friends. They all knew each other from the low end.
Mama Duck.
Around this time, Bosstrell's younger brother Ray began making a name for himself in the Jeffrey Manor neighborhood. He claimed a renegade gang by the name of Lafa. Ray and Ron were both still living with their grandmother, but often came to visit Bosstrell and Letafra. By 2010, Bosstrell was dealing drugs and hanging with older guys such as FBG Cash. Selling drugs was easy for Bosstrell.
Now you see, that's usually how it starts. Right there. We just heard that he was a great kid. He read books, very smart in school, loved playing basketball. But sometimes that environment gets to you before you get anywhere else. No matter your talents, no matter your skills, no matter how smart you are, they say if you stay anywhere long enough, what's that saying when they say if somebody sticks around the barbershop long enough, they'll get a haircut? That's what it is. And it's a continuous cycle because what happens is they're in that environment. They got to see these things every single day. And as a kid, you see the guys wearing the jewelry, you see them with the cars, the girls, the money. You don't know no better. But as a young adult whose brain isn't developed, you want that, right? You want the instant gratification. A lot of them don't have their fathers around. So they seek the streets, and that's what happens. That's how they get, put in the streets. Keep in mind, it's not about your upbringing. You can have the best upbringing. It don't matter. Once again, you stick around the barbershop long enough, you get a haircut.
Letafra basically ran a crack house. Thousands of dollars was made at 6347. When STL was created, Bosstrell was one of the first members. After Hookah was killed in 2011, Bosstrell began buying guns and going out on hits with other STL, Mob and Jero City members.
There you go.
At the time, TYMB was STL and EBT biggest ops. A lot of fights and shootouts often took place. STL EBT pretty much bullied TYMB and even allegedly killed a few of their members.
See, and that's another thing they were saying about Bosstrell. He was very smart to the point to where he played with guns all the time, right? He broke them down. He knew how to pick them apart, put them back together, pick them apart, put them back together, clean them, and that's a skill within itself. He self-taught himself that. Like I said, he definitely had a brain on him, man. And he was known for doing this, by the way.
Although Bosstrell was respected in the neighborhood, some EBT members still looked at him as a goofy. One time Baby Greg from EBT asked Bosstrell to see his gun. When Bosstrell gives him the gun, Baby Greg walked off with it aggressively. STL didn't do anything about it. They decided to just charge it to the game. Bosstrell only bought more guns. The beef between Tookaville and Wick City became deadly when STL took credit for killing O.D. Perry. KI was the one who made STL huge targets. She constantly taunted her ops on social media. Bosstrell was basically the only member of STL who had guns. KI was flashing EBT members' guns in her photos. They would often let her borrow their guns to shoot at the ops. C-Ball went to jail for shooting a guy months before O.D. Perry was killed and was sentenced to 11 years. Dutchy and Bosstrell were allegedly STL top shooters at the time. Lil B and Bosstrell.
It's crazy. Shout out to Dutchy too. I like the way Dutchy moves. Right to this day. Like, he knows how to answer certain questions. He knows how to dodge certain questions. He doesn't try to act overly tough or gangster when he's in interviews. And somehow when you watch a lot of these throwback documentaries or just documentaries based on guys that already lost their life, his name comes up a lot, right? He's definitely a known figure when it comes to the drill culture, but he doesn't show it, right? He ain't got to sit there and tell you, oh yeah, I did this, or I'm really like, he don't do that. You know, it's one of those situations where if you know, you know. And you last a long time when you move like that.
Became close friends. The two allegedly went on multiple hits together. On July 17, 2011, Bosstrell allegedly catch his first body.
Ain't no going back after that.
Marcus London, also known as Boldy from 600, was shot in the head on the 6000 block of South Prairie Avenue at around 12:55 a.m. He was pronounced dead at 4:30 p.m. Boldy was 19 years old. On September 13, 2011, Bosstrell along with Dome from Jarrow City allegedly chased down D-Thang from 600 and killed him. Dome was arrested and charged with the murder. He didn't tell on the other gunman and was only sentenced to 12 years. Many believe that Bosstrell was the one who actually murdered D-Thang. If that's true, then D-Thang would be Bosstrell's second body.
Crazy. Now, for y'all that don't know, this was prime, not too prime, but this was prime drill culture. 2004, it's really 2011 and 10 and, you know, like around 12, but they were still on Twitter going crazy, right? They were still saying a lot on Twitter around this time. A lot of them were still alive. Some of them, well, majority of them that's not here now, unfortunately, but yeah, this was prime drill culture where they was on Twitter going crazy.
On February 16, 2012, Bosstrell allegedly catch his third and final body. Bosstrell, along with another STL member, was out looking for ops near Parkway Gardens. At around 6:30 p.m., Bosstrell allegedly shot 19-year-old Sheroyd Liggins in the head from across the street using a red beam. Sheroyd was found laying on the ground minutes later and was rushed to the hospital. He was pronounced dead days later. Sheroyd was a loved O Block member. He's the younger brother of O Block C murder. Many say that Sheroyd was a peaceful guy. He enjoyed drawing and doing hair. Many don't know that Sheroyd was a singer. If he was alive today, he would most likely be a famous R&B artist. His death broke a lot of people's hearts.
Now you see, a lot of the times, guys that's not even a part of anything always get sucked into the mess.
O Block.
And the reason this happens is because you might see them in videos. You might see them in places where they're just around because they supporting their friends. This is why a lot of the guys stop getting in music videos, because it's really like that. Because it's a war going on, and if they see you in a video, whether you supporting or whether you really with the stuff or not, they're gonna target you because they know in order to get to who they really want to get to, getting to you will also make it hurt the same way. So you take a friend, you take a family member, whatever it is. But it's just unfortunate because, like he just said, he would have been a singer. He was a peaceful guy. He wanted to draw. And lo and behold, he got sucked into the whole back and forth between both sides. Now, also, y'all pay attention to how they said that whole thing transpired. Because it said that Trell was definitely a sharpshooter as well. He had the red beam or whatever from across the street. He head tapped him. Right? That's skill.
Block 600 wanted Bosstrell dead. The word went around fast that he was Sheroyd's killer. The police began harassing Bosstrell after Sheroyd was killed. In June of 2012, Bosstrell, Dutchie and a few other Tookaville members had allegedly shot up O Block and ran back to St. Lawrence. After making it back to St. Lawrence, they were aggressively approached by two officers in a squad car. Bosstrell and Dutchie take off running. Bosstrell was hit with the squad car and Dutchie was shot by an officer. The officer claimed that Dutchie had a gun, however no weapon was found on the scene. Dutchie and his family filed a lawsuit against the Chicago Police Department, and it was later settled out of court.
Now, like I told y'all before, Dutchie didn't get brought up a lot, right? He been through a lot. He don't say too much, but he been through a lot. But once again, that's how you last. You know, whether it's in the streets or with the police. If you don't say too much, then the police won't be on your heels. A lot of guys, they say too much, they incriminate themselves and wonder why they're getting indicted.
Said before, bosstrell was basically the only STL member who had guns at the time. When other STL members needed guns, they ran to bosstrell. Members such as Medell and Man were even carrying around BB guns. One day bosstrell let FBG Young use the gun to walk somewhere in the neighborhood. At the time STL was feuding with members of Jarrow City. Bosstrell was on crutches after being ran over by the police, and Dutchie was on house arrest.
Crazy.
When Young and other STL members were walking through the neighborhood, a Jarrow City member fired shots at them. For some reason Young didn't return fire. Bosstrell heard the gunshots from his house and thought that FBG Young shot at Jarrow members. When Young and the others returned, Bosstrell was upset with Young when he found out that he didn't shoot back. He told him that he's making STL look weak.
That's crazy. See, that's the environment, right? Imagine your friend being mad at you because somebody was shooting at you and you had to run for your life. He like, man, forget running. Why you ain't shoot back? So now you just got to understand the mindset of these kids. Keyword, kids at the time. These are kids with guns. And this is their way of thinking because of their environment.
Other hoods were already giving STL a hard time because KI was false claiming bodies. Bosstrell was also friends with Lil Jojo from Brick Squad. Lil Jojo heard about all the work Bosstrell put in. This was around the time he dropped BDK. Lil Jojo was the next big thing in Chicago. Bosstrell was a part of the BDK movement. Lil Jojo even rapped about Bosstrell beating up Lil Durk. Many don't know that Bosstrell rapped as well. He was already becoming famous on social media and often talked about making music. When Lil Jojo was killed in September of that year, Bosstrell wanted revenge.
See that 2012. I told y'all that was prime drill. 2011, 2012, it was going down, especially on Twitter. They got tweets from King Von to this day. Well, they still got newer ones from 2014, but it was different. It was a different time. They was admitting to bodies. They was telling you they next step. Oh, I'm gonna catch you here. I'm gonna do this. Crazy.
Dutchie had to serve 6 months in jail. Bosstrell no longer had his partner in crime. Around this time, Bosstrell went to live with his girlfriend and her family on the 2600 block of West 83rd Street. While staying there, his girlfriend's brother had allegedly stole one of his guns. Bosstrell and his girlfriend gets into it, and Bosstrell moves out. It's unclear where Bosstrell was living at this time. Some say he had his own place somewhere on St. Lawrence. He also had a vehicle. Bosstrell spent most of his time in the house playing his PlayStation. Call of Duty was his favorite game. Although he was a killer, he still made money. His customers came to him. Bosstrell knew how to move. It was difficult for the ops to touch him. Around this time he gets into it with Kayla B on social media.
Now see, Kayla B, she was messing with the ops. She was all over the place, man. And as y'all know, Chicago is very small. Chicago is so small that a lot of these guys that be beefing with each other be fake related with each other, right? They mothers know each other, their grandparents know each other, their parents used to live in the same building. Some of these guys lived in the same building. Some of these guys even hung out with each other. To this day, I don't even understand how they get to the point to where they really want to take each other's lives. The whole time, they were once friends. Like, what happened? What get you to a point to where you want to do that? Like, maybe you want to beat somebody up. Like, I can't wait, but to say I want to take his life, that's strong. But for y'all that do know about Kayla B, she was definitely making her rounds, man. She was messing with a lot of the GDs, the BDs. She was all over the place, y'all, before all this straight BD stuff that she got going on now. She was affiliated with a lot of people. One that a lot of people like to talk about is 051 Melly, because y'all know he was definitely one of the BD's most top enemies there ever was. And he had it out for not just Little Durk, but Kayla B's brother, King Von. And it was a point in time where she allegedly messed with him. All right.
Bosstrell planned to move to Iowa and live with some friends. He was ready to change his life. After saving up money, Bosstrell purchased a bus ticket to Iowa. He planned on leaving November 7th. But first he wanted his gun back from his ex-girlfriend's brother. After asking several STL members to come with him to get back the gun, Bosstrell decided to go by himself when they all refused to help.
Now that's crazy right there, right? Now this is the guy that they saying is like the protector, the money getter, you know, the guy that's representing that whole area, and nobody decided to go with him when he decided to go get his weapon back. Now keep in mind, what he said, I'm going over there to get my weapon back. At least somebody could have said, all right, I'll go with you. Cause you already know, if you go in there to go get your weapon from somebody that took it, or for whatever reason, it's bound to go left. It's just inevitable, right? Who's just gonna give a weapon back and be like, yo, here, take it? If somebody took it or did something weird for it, it was for a reason. And I'm not gonna trust anybody with a weapon that I'm trying to get back from them. Simple as that. Now maybe Trell didn't think that the man would go as far as shooting him, but as you can see, sometimes none of that matters, unfortunately. But I just find that part crazy how they always describe Trell as the guy, you know, he was the protector, he was this, he was that. But when he asked for help, when he really needed it, nobody helped. Crazy.
On the morning of November 7th, Bosstrell allegedly dressed up as a female and made his way over to his ex-girlfriend's home. He was coming to kill her brother before going to Iowa. It would have been a successful hit if Bosstrell wasn't texting her phone hours prior making threats. Her brother and his friends were allegedly waiting in the gangway for Bosstrell to arrive.
Yeah. She mad cause I won't tell her ish, you talk too effing much. I bet the old block remember that red beam. Till I get my new start crazy.
The female's brother was allegedly a member of a gang by the name of Quiet Money. Quiet Money is a mostly black disciple gang located on 83rd Street. Members of Quiet Money were friends with O Block member King Von. Bosstrell arrived around 6:15 a.m. Members of Quiet Money allegedly come out of the cut and jumped him in the gangway. The bullet struck Bosstrell in the back of the head. At around 6:50, Bosstrell was found laying in the gangway. A Glock semi-automatic was found underneath him, and a bus ticket to Iowa was found in his pocket.
Damn. Right there, y'all. Right there. That's crazy. And you know what's crazy? I did this story already. I did my own video based on Trell, like I told y'all before, but it's just when you actually watching it and you listening and you hearing it, because usually when I'm doing a video, I gotta sit there and be the one to tell y'all. But when I'm sitting there and actually listening, and do you see how things play out? It's crazy. This man was literally leaving. It's like Chicago just cursed. He was literally leaving Chicago to start a brand new life because he wanted to change. He wanted better for himself. And he realized that it wasn't going to happen in Chicago. So he was one of the guys that actually was smart enough to say, you know what? I got to get up and leave. Right? A lot of guys, they try to prove a point. They try to stay in Chicago. They tell you, oh, I ain't leaving. I love the hood. He said, no, ain't nothing here for me. I want better for myself. I'm leaving. I'm going to Iowa. And he went, unfortunately, to go retrieve a weapon. And he didn't make it. And he literally had the bus ticket in his pocket.
Found in his pocket. Bosstrell was rushed to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. Letafra and other family members rushed to the hospital to see Bosstrell. FBG Duck and other STL members rushed to the hospital also. A brain-dead Bosstrell was on a breathing machine. It wasn't much more the doctors could do. Family and friends said their final goodbyes. At 11:30 p.m., Bosstrell was pronounced dead. He was 17 years old.
You hear that? Yo, did you just... Alright, so now that the video is close to being over, right? When you listen to everything they described about this man, from getting money, having trap houses, taking lives allegedly, shootings, getting shot at, selling whatever allegedly, and at the end of all that, you hear that he was only 17. Crazy. The hood really forced you to grow up early.
Dutchie had to mourn alone in a jail cell. Many believed that if Dutchie was free, Bosstrell would still be alive. Dutchie wouldn't have let Bosstrell slide alone.
Facts.
Many STL, EBT, Jero City and even mob members were heartbroken about Bosstrell. He was loved in the neighborhood. Letafra got Bosstrell's name tattooed on her face shortly after his death. She later moved to Minnesota to start a new life. In April of 2020, she was found dead. The cause of death is unknown.
Damn. But was it like a gunshot wound? They said she was found dead. What was it? Drugs? Heart attack? I don't know.
Well, this was the Bosstrell story. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.
Alright. So in conclusion to all that, y'all, like I said, Trell's story has a lot of messages in it, man. Very unfortunate situation. One of the messages is just know that no matter how much you love the streets, no matter how much you love the game, no matter how much you think them people gonna be there when you need them the most, his story just goes to show you the streets don't love nobody. I think we already knew that. But this just goes to show the streets don't love nobody when he needed them people the most. And shout out to them. But what I'm saying is when he needed them the most, there was nowhere to be found. And like the narrator said, if Dutchie was out of prison, just know that Dutchie would have definitely went with him, because he know in his mind, I'm not about to let this man go over there by himself to retrieve a weapon. That just doesn't make sense. That's gonna go left every time. Imagine you going to somebody saying, yo, listen, I want my gun back. Or give me my gun back. Because you don't say it like that. Yo, hey, I want my gun. Nah, like, yo, listen, I need that. Off rip, whoever it is, he's gonna react probably hostile. You already know he has a weapon, so in your head, you probably gonna want to strike before he do, because it's one of those situations where, listen, I either strike first and it's him, or he strike first and it's me. There's no do-overs on life, y'all. So, like I said, you going to retrieve a weapon, it's just a recipe for disaster, especially if you by yourself. Now, also, they said that he was already making threatening tweets before, or text messages with the girl before he actually went over there. So they was already on go. They already knew what to expect from him. That's why they was all clicked up already before he came. They already expected him. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of messages in this in Trell's story, man. It's very unfortunate because I think that he's definitely one of them guys that was a victim of his environment. I think if maybe he would have got out of that environment, he could have actually been something, right? This is the same man that knew how to get money at that young age, knew how to take guns apart and put them back together and all type of stuff like that at a young age, right? He was just a product of his environment, unfortunately, and I think a lot of these guys turn out to be that way. And yeah, y'all, it's just a very unfortunate situation, like I said, man. But now y'all see the boy Trell story. Shout out to Drugstore Films. This was actually a dope narration. I appreciate y'all for locking in with us, definitely when it comes to these reactions, man. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.